creator, and today I'm doing a special story time. For those of you who are new to my channel, we talk about an array of topics. We share, I share personal anecdotes for self improvement, self care, self love, and I started this channel when I was in my mid 20s, and now I'm in my late 30s. So I was under a different name. I was under the lovely Miss Dime at that point. And when you're in your mid 20s, you're still a kid, pretty much. Your brain isn't even done developing. So perspectives change. And I was like, I have this platform. I really don't know what to do with it. So I still wanted to vlog. I just didn't want to pander to an audience. And I was no longer interested in the topic that where the sector that I had built a platform to talk about. I was still interested in vlogging. I just needed a topic to talk about. And I just didn't want to come on YouTube to be talking about things, pandering to an audience, even though I had an audience, just to be talking about things, just to be talking about things, because I think it would have been disingenuous. So I had to take time on my personal journey to find my voice, find what I truly cared about. Same person, just older and wiser with a different perspective. When you, for those of you who are older to my channel, it's the same person, just when you first got came to know of me, I was a young girl. Now I'm a grown woman. It's not a different personality. I'm not a psycho. It's just rebranding, pretty much. But I'm not going to be rebranding every 5 years. It's just there's a big difference between your mid 20s and late 30s. And if there isn't, you need your head examined, because there should be growth. But nevertheless, let's jump into the content. For a majority of my life, because of upbringing, I was taught to that well brought up Southern belles are nice, and nice girls are polite. Nice girls have manners. Nice girls don't say no. Nice girls allow things. And that set the stage for a lot of the relationship mistakes that I made throughout my life. And I'm telling you all this so that you all understand the reasons for the story time. So I'm talking about my previous relationship, not the relationship I'm in now. So let's travel back in time to October of last year. My ex, I'm going to give him a name because we don't need internet sleuths tracking people down. This is not a bashing session or we hate men session. This is a teaching tool. The point is to show women you can heal from trauma, and healing is not linear. There are going to be days, even through your healing process, even through grief, even after even after you buried a loved one, and you've gone through the stages of grief. There's going to be, for example, if you lost a, a father and he's been gone 2 years, that doesn't, just because you've accepted the loss of your father doesn't mean from time to time you don't cry. But that doesn't mean you're stuck in that stage of grief. I'd be lying to sit up here and say, hello, how are you? Um, will you say something in the chat so I can say hello? How are you? Well, they came in and disappeared, so I can't greet them if they don't say anything. On the last couple of my lives, people have just come in and hello, how are you? Say something in the chat, like, comment, and subscribe so I can acknowledge you for support. They come in and leave. Um, I want to acknowledge people, but if they just poke their head in and don't say anything, I can't. If you're not participatory during the live, I can't acknowledge you for contributing and supporting the live. So, but I see that people watch the live after the live is over, but because the participation on the last few lives has been so low, I can't gauge when is the best time to go live, because I'm a brand new channel, and if the participation is so low, it doesn't tell me when the best time is to go live. So I don't need you guys just to look at it. I need you all to say something and let your presence be known, please. That helps me to know when the best time is to stream. Um, but so we're gonna call this guy. What is a sexy name? We're gonna call this guy. We're gonna call this guy Jamal. Okay, because the name is sexy, but it's toxic. Okay, don't feel offended if your name is Jamal and you're not toxic, but I was just being cheeky. That may not apply to all men named Jamal. So, okay, we're going to go with that. So, last October, I was on a dating site and I met this young man named Jamal. Now, I erred on the side of caution. I look before I leap. I don't just readily believe, because on dating sites, it's like a buffet. You can't assume on a dating site or on social media or on anything in the digital age that you're the only person that the only woman that a man is talking to in the digital age, especially with the plethora of options, and especially the way women outnumber men statistically. It would just be stupid to think that, hello, how are you? So we get to talking on social media. Immediately, there is chemistry. So I don't just go off of chemistry. Okay, that person came and they left. They didn't say anything. So again, when you come in the live and you don't say hi, you don't let me know anything, The analytics can't tell me when is the most convenient time, who is watching, or anything. It's very hard for me to be able to know when the best time is to stream if people aren't participating. But I'm gonna go ahead with the content. So immediately there was chemistry. But I don't go off of that because at that point I had been trying online dating for a while. It had resulted in some successful relationships. It had resulted in some disappointing ones, just like the real world. It's dating. You're gonna find dishonest people no matter where you find people, but people can hide behind social media and technology a lot easier than they can if you meet somebody, let's say at Wally World, aka Walmart, or school, Southern University, or a job, or I don't know, a charity hospital, or Turo in New Orleans, than you can if you're meeting them down in the DM or any other digital means. So we continue to talk, and this goes on for months. So by me having a mobility impairment, and at that time I was in acute care. Now, I wasn't catfishing. He was well aware of my mobility impairment. He was a special type of person, and he wasn't love bombing. He really didn't care. We communicated through video chat. We talked a great deal about my disability and what kind of impact it would have on a relationship, and if he could realistically handle, dealing with a person on a long-term basis that had my specific impairments. So he was all for it. So, long story short, I ended up in acute care for about a week and a half. Acute care is not a nursing home. It's a place where people go if they become injured for about a week, because Medicaid and Medicare is not gonna pay for you to stay in those type of places for more than about 2 weeks tops. You get food, you get therapy, you get medications. Their job is to stabilize you. You can't be, it's a rehab type of place, not drug rehab. So don't come for me. It's like a physical therapy rehab, but you get medications in there, prescribed medications. You're not getting lit in getting wavy. You're not taking edibles in those type of places. It's regulated in those type of places. So I wasn't looking my best. Not saying I'm ugly, but I wasn't in the type of shape where I would want to meet somebody, because it wasn't a place where you go to get dolled up. You're there for 3 hours a day Monday through Friday for intense physical and occupational therapy. You're not trying to meet anybody. You're not there to be America's next top model. So he's like, I really, really care about you. I have strong feelings for you. I don't care I don't, I'm not caring about the superficial type of stuff. I want to meet you in person. And I was like, I don't want our first impression to be in a place like this. And his first introduction to me was in a hospital gown. No lie, no cap, no nothing. I had crust in my eye. I was stank. I'm telling y'all the truth. Hi, how are you? How's it going? Thank you for watching. Please say something. How's it going this afternoon? Okay, they came and left. So that again, that wasn't a, it was akin to like a skilled nursing. It wasn't, it's not a place where you will want to try to link up with anybody. But he came on his lunch break, met up with me. I was nervous. And if anybody knows me, I don't get nervous. I'm extroverted. I'm outgoing. Nothing intimidates me. But I felt the tingle. Like that once in a lifetime movie theater, old Hollywood movie feeling that you only get once in a lifetime with a person. You don't get that all the time. But in my case, it was real. I can't speak for how the other person felt, but I was all in. And the first time I saw him, it wasn't lust. It for me it was love. Truly at first sight. Because I talked to him, I really got to know him. I believe in depth conversations, and you can get to know. And I ask open ended questions. I don't ask yes and no short answer questions. I asked the necessary questions that were going to tell me in a very short time the information that I needed to know, so I didn't waste valuable time building a connection with somebody I was not compatible with. So my situation of meeting the person was the exception to the rule, because when we did talk on the phone and text, it wasn't about fluff. It was about, are we on the same life path? Do we share the same values? So by the time we met in person, it was just like two pieces of a puzzle coming together. It was just we needed to cement the in-person connection because the connection was already built by the time it was already established months before we had an in-person meeting. And I'm not gonna go into the intimate things that went down because that's just distasteful. But I'm just gonna move on and try not to smile and blush, because going too deep into that is not ladylike. And I'm in a relationship now with a different person, and I love that person deeply, and I don't want to dwell too much on the past and worry about an old flame, because I just want to show reverence to the person I'm currently in a relationship with, because that's a red flag. Talking too much about your ex. I'm speaking about him specifically because for the purpose of this video, to talk about why I chose to use this as part of my ministry, not which I feel like God took me through that, what started off beautiful in the beginning, because everything that glitters is not gold. And sometimes people aren't red flags. Sometimes people are yellow flags, and that's what gets people. And it wasn't like a thing about him that was like, no, just a resounding no, girl, you need to run. It was just a culmination of just things that would just not align. And if you don't have a sense of self, and you don't have a good sense of boundaries, forget narcissist, because that word is just thrown around a lot. It makes you a target for toxic people. So, at the very least, that person was toxic from my perspective, was not a good match. Today, healed Lisa the creator would still assess and say that Jamal loved me. He really did, to the best of his ability. He didn't love bomb me. He really did love me with the best of the resources that he had. But was the love that he had, and was he was capable of giving, what the bigger and more important question was it sustainable, and was it enough for the type of woman I am? Absolutely, unequivocally no. And does that make him a villain? Does that make him a bad person? But if you are not clear as a woman, and if you are so dripping in desperation to be with somebody, and you're like, oh, tick, 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 you're codependent, and you're trauma bonded with somebody, and they may not even be a bad person. They may not even be a toxic person, but they haven't done their inner work. It may be even a case of right person, wrong time. Sometimes people just need to heal on their own. I really think if we had just linked up at a time, the woman I am today wouldn't even look twice at a man like that. But because I just can't be Barbara the Builder in terms of the work that he has to do internally to be an alpha male, I just can't do it. Not that he doesn't have the capacity inside of him to be a provider, to be a protector of a family, but he couldn't protect my heart. He couldn't protect me from secondhand embarrassment. He couldn't protect my emotions. And as soon as you can't do that for me, and as soon as you can't do that for me as a Gemini woman, I've emotionally checked out. And that's not to say he's a bad guy. It's just he has a lot of, at 37 years old, a lot of grown man work to do. And it's not a criticism, but I just don't think he is a candidate for anybody in a relationship. The best thing for him to do until he figures out on his own what he truly wants on his spiritual journey, what his calling is as a man, is to, what God's purpose for him is on this earth, is to practice healthy singlehood, because he is going to destroy the essence of a good woman, because he almost took me up out of here spiritually. If I didn't know the way back to my most high, I could have gotten destroyed. But thank God I know how to connect to I know how to connect to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I'm not saying every woman needs that. I would hope my subscribers do, but that's not the case for everybody. And I'm not trying to convert all of my listeners. I'm just hoping that women who are listening don't fall into the trap of being Captain Sabum and feeling like history means healthy, and that the number of years that you put in means that you're obligated to be in something. There's nothing worse than looking back over a situation and sitting there feeling like, well, darn, I really wasted my time. The time and effort that I spent playing Barbara the Builder, I could have been building a business. I could have been writing a business proposal. I could have been writing the draft of a children's novel. I could have been writing a grant. But no. I spent all that time pouring into a man that wasn't pouring into me. And now I poured into Larry the Leech, and Larry the Leech is gone off with half of my resources, often financial, building with somebody else. And that is what builds up acrimony in women. I wasn't foolish enough to share finances with a man because I don't believe in that, and I wasn't taught that. But that is why a lot of that plays out, because people are upset not just at the amount of time they put in, but when you are a high value woman, you were the woman of means. You put in 10, 11, 12 years into something, not saying that anybody is balled and chained to anybody. People have free will, but wouldn't you feel cheated if you put 10, 12 years, 10, 11, 12 years into something, a person had nothing financially when they got with you, and then they grew tired of you, or it came out that they only saw you as an opportunity, and then the minute they got access to who they really wanted, they jumped ship. That's why a lot of people feel bitter and feel slighted. So it's like, be careful who you build with. Vet people very carefully. So the bigger question is, how do you heal? Prayer, prayer, prayer. Paul says, pray without ceasing. Pray by yourself. Get get in a support group, a prayer group. Don't be, if you are a Christian, don't be a lone Christian. That doesn't mean you got to shout your testimony from the rooftops. That doesn't mean you have to give your intimate story to other people, because there are messy behind people in the church who are willing to tell everything they know about members of the body of Christ. But vet people before you start telling your story. But you can give general information and get in a women's group and get some strong women in their singlehood who are also on that journey to self-care, self-love. You might discover in a women's group or in a professional women's society that you may encounter a woman at work, or a woman that is a female boss, a woman that's, about something. She may share with you. Don't go probing for people's personal information, because that's crossing boundaries. We don't do that. But just getting out of the house, getting out of a funk, you might just discover you never know who you may meet on this life journey. You could be making groceries. That's Louisiana term, making groceries, and you might encounter a woman that she may end up testifying, giving her testimony to you that she just left a toxic relationship. And y'all might end up having lunch. And who knows? You might end up making an associate or a business contact. Y'all might end up sharing the word of God right there. You never know who people place in your life. Go in your prayer closet. Start praying morning, noon, and night. That's my daily schedule. I pray at different times because my schedule varies with school, medical appointments, lives. It's not at the same time every day. Sometimes I can go into my commentary and I have more time to meditate on the word. I go on Christian TikTok to look up scriptures and go online to find, if I'm going through a specific issue, how to handle an issue biblically. If I can't get in touch with my pastor, because a pastor simply serves as a facilitator to the word. You're not supposed to be codependent on the pastor to be your direct line to Jesus Christ. It's like a teacher. He's not supposed to give you, he or she is not supposed to give you all of the information. It's up to you. If you want an education and you want to learn, it's up to you. Same thing with your relationship with the Father, same thing with your emotional health. It's not up to a therapist. They're only there to mediate and facilitate and help you with your emotional regulation. They're not there to be a crutch. So, end codependency. Never let anybody think or believe that they're the end all be all, because you make fatal mistakes, a grave mistakes can be made believing that, because toxic people can sense that a mile away. Toxic people bank on that. Where a narcissist exists, but I'm just saying that at the very least, you just may be dealing with an unhealed, unaware individual. Some and unhealed and unaware can mimic narcissism, but people have to want to improve their lives, and empaths and people can want that for people until the cows come home. But an individual has to be ready for change. And a Proverbs 31 woman can get on their knees all they want for turn my man into a Boaz. Give him a heart for God. Make him into a family man. No, Barbara the Builder. No, Pauletta the placeholder. He was never those things to begin with. If it's not in him to be those things, he's not going to do it. By the time a man is 25, his personality just about is already formed. If it's not ingrained in him just about to do something, unless there is a dramatic shift in his life, unless there is some powerful spiritual force outside of himself, i.e., a spiritual calling from on high to compel him to change. No amount of feminine prowess, no amount of begging and pleading, no amount of poom poom can motivate a man to change. You are wasting your time. If you're serious about dating, serious about marriage, only entertain men who are serious about dating and marriage. Leave males and zesties and big baddie energy out there for the pick Mishas, Barbara the Builders, and Pauline's the placeholders. Because trust me, there are plenty of the Pauline, the placeholders, and Barbara the Builders, and pick Mishas who will pick up the slack. You don't have to be it. Choose you. Because the toxic men are going to choose them every time. What is the aversion to being the main character in your life? You should be. It's your life. I'm just wondering, because the math isn't mathing. I choose me because at the end of the day, and it does not make you selfish. It allows you to weed out those who do not have your best interests at heart. Those who love you and value you want to see you win and will help to put you in positions to see you succeed. Those who don't love you and don't value you will do everything in their power to put you in positions to see you crumble and fail, and will try to try to do and say whatever they can to lower your self esteem and paralyze your growth because they don't love themselves. The biggest form of self hatred is entertaining people who don't care about you. Why would you entertain what what on what day of the week does it make sense to be around people who don't like you? Unless you have to work with these people, why would you want to take up space voluntarily with a man? I'm talking to women who are heterosexual because I'm heterosexual. Why would you want to share your bed with a man who is not attracted to you, with a man who does not want you, does not want to be with you, and does not love you, when there is a man out there who will go above and beyond for you? Make it make sense. That's self-hatred for me. Why? It screams I don't love myself. Why is your opinion of yourself that low that you will continue to let a man play in your face when he has said to you, if he has not said it verbally, his actions say it. I don't want you. I don't value you. I don't give a hill of beans about you. Move on today. Don't wait until tomorrow because the buzzer may be out for you tomorrow. Is your life. Live your best life today. With a person who cares and not with somebody who doesn't care. Care about yourself. Stop waiting for a man to pour into you when you can care about you. And most importantly, God cares. Have a blessed day.